Hi, welcome to HowtoDandD. My name is Fred Wheeler and today I want to talk about Dungeons & Dragons 5e, and today we are going to build a character. We're going to do some character creation. We're going to build ourselves a ranger for Dungeons & Dragons 5e. This is the explorer and sort of the navigator of the wilderness and the wilds. Rangers can be very different and quite a versatile and flexible character because you have access to spell casting. You can use weapons proficiently at range and up close, which is always very nice, and you're sort of you come off the bat essentially being a natural explorer and having the ability to specialize in dealing with certain types of enemies. Now today I'm going to use D&D Beyond, which is a website. You will find that down in the description. D&D Beyond did not pay me or ask me to do this video or use their software. I'm using it because I think it is the best way to show you how to build a character. It will not cost you anything. Everything I'm showing you today does not cost you a thing. Now there are additional options that do cost, but everything I'm showing you today doesn't cost you anything. So first we're going to go straight to character, and there's the option to look at my characters or go to the character builder. So I'm going to select the character builder, and that should open up and gives us three options: randomize, quick build, and the standard. This is the step-by-step approach. We're going to click the little box here to show us step-by-step how to do this. I've gone through this a couple of times with other classes. It goes over the basics of creating a character. You can read through this if you want to, it's up to you. It talks about character levels and preferences. That's all there is for this first section. So we're going to go next, and this is where we start selecting some of the content we're going to use for creating our character. I'm going to ditch all of the homebrew content. There is now the option to include Magic the Gathering content. I'm going to remove that as well, and the Everon content. Anything that might potentially cause hassles or you might have to pay for. I've removed all of that. Now I'm going to create a character name. I think today I'm going to make another Wood Elf Ranger. It just sort of feels like it's going to work better. So I'm going to go randomize. You can just type in a name if you want to, and it's just keep clicking the button till you basically get a name that you like. Wendon will do. Right, so let's go with Wendon, and we go for the little plus sign. We'll give us a thumbnail for our character. I'm going with an elf, and I think really I want to go with a male elf this time round, so we'll find something that's suitable. Kind of that one. Yeah, let's go with this one here, and apply. There we go, that's done, nice and simple. Heading down here, advancement type. If your Dungeon Master uses milestones, then leave it on milestones. Otherwise, if you're using experience points, then put it onto XP, and we will confirm XP. My Dungeon Master uses XP. There is the encumbrance type, so you can use the one that says use encumbrance if you're using encumbrance rules. You can have no encumbrance, or you can go variant encumbrance if you're using the variant encumbrance rules. I'm going to go no encumbrance for today, and I'm going to ignore coin weight as well when I'm building this. You can turn it on and off, it's completely up to you. Next, hit point type. So what it does is it will either show me the, I can either roll my hit points and enter it manually, or I can take the fixed value, which is an average. I'm going to go with the average. Ability scores and modifiers and how they are displayed. I want the modifier to be at the top and the largest number rather than the ability score. The score, you really don't use that very much, but it's the modifier you use heaps. So we'll leave that at the top. We'll leave it as public so people can see it. And I go next. Now we're going to choose our race. The great thing about D&D Beyond is it breaks it up so you can see step by step what you should be doing. So it talks about racial traits, that's our ability score increases, our age, alignment, size, speed, languages we might have, and any sub-races. Now, elves have a lot of sub-races, but right now we're going to go next, and we're going to select the sources that we're going to use. Now, right now, it's got pretty much everything you can access. It says all sources. I don't want to do that. I'm going to restrict it down to the basic rules. You don't have to do this. Next, elf. I can do a drop down. Now there's the Eladrin, there's the High Elf and the Wood Elf. I'm going to go with the Wood Elf for today. A Wood Elf is going to give me a +2 to Dexterity, and I should get a boost to my Wisdom as well. And it goes over the basics of what you can expect with your Wood Elf. All the basics are all listed there and how they work. Okay, and we'll go skip. Mask of the Wild could be quite useful for a ranger, by the way. Okay, so we get Dark Vision, allows us to see in the dark. Keen Senses, so we have proficiency in the perception skill. So we don't have to pick that as one of our proficient skills for our class or for our background. So we'll forget about that. Fey Ancestry gives us advantage on saving throws against being charmed. That is also magic that would put us to sleep. And then Trance allows us to essentially take 4 hours and get the benefits of what would have been a long rest. Okay, so that's all covered. And then Mask of the Wild, you get the ability to essentially hide in lightly obscured foliage, heavy rain, and stuff like that. Kind of cool. Moving on. Class. We're not going to multi-class today. We're just going to go with one level. So we're going to go next. It does talk briefly about the classes. The class we are selecting today is the Ranger. So we go Ranger. It goes over the basics for your Ranger. So you get a D10 for your hit dice. Your primary abilities, we want them to have a high Dexterity and a high Wisdom. You do not have to build your Ranger this way, but it's just what they recommend. The saving throws we will be proficient with are Strength and Dexterity. Our hit points, we will start off with 10 plus our Constitution modifier. So make sure you give yourself a Constitution modifier. And then after that, after we get past level 1, our average would be 6 plus our Constitution modifier. You roll that 10-sided dice and add your Constitution modifier after level 1. We are going to be proficient in armor, light, medium, and shields. No heavy armor for us. Weapons are going to be simple weapons, martial weapons. No tool proficiencies, but never mind. Saving throws we've already covered, and our skills are covered here. We're going to talk about that in a second anyway. We're going to get a favored enemy, and we're going to be a natural explorer, and we're going to get a whole lot of other things after level 1, which we'll go into at a later date. Okay, add this class. Okay, so it's done all the math for us, so you can change the level you are at. I'm at level 1 right now, but you could jump to anything and then continue to build your character. We're not going to do that today. There's our hit points, our proficiencies. We've already covered them, but we do need to pick some skills. Now I'm going to pick the background folk hero. Now folk hero, the proficient skills for that are animal handling and survival. So I don't want to pick animal handling or survival because I'm going to be running over the same ground. So pick something else. I get to select 3. So out of the 3, I'm going to select, I think we're going to go with, now remember we don't need to pick up perception because we're going to get that as an elf. We're going to pick up nature, that makes a lot of sense, so we'll pick up nature. And then I think we'll go with something like stealth, because that can be useful when you're sneaking around, so we'll go with stealth. And we get one more, and I think for this, I'm tempted to go with athletics, so I've got the ability to at least do something. Acrobatics, athletics, it's always nice to have one of the physical skills under your belt. You won't necessarily be very good at it, but we're still going to pick it. So athletics. Now you could pick any other thing. It's insight and investigation are certainly other options, but I'm not going to do that today. So we go with athletics. Okay, alright, so that's done. Now let's deal with our favourite enemy. That's why there's exclamation marks there. We haven't filled that out yet. Go to the plus sign, and we're going to get to pick some of these. So our first option, choose an option. I want to pick something that is sort of going to work with the campaign. So have a discussion with your dungeon master. I'm going to pick humanoids. And then once that's selected, then it's broken down. You get to select a couple of humanoids that you can sort of have as your favourite enemy. So I'm going to pick something nice and standard. Orcs and I think goblins. Nothing too fancy. Goblinoids. Okay, I can also pick a language. I should have access to Elven and Common, and I can pick up another language. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with, Goblin. I'm going to go with Goblin. We could go with Orc if we wanted to, but that's another, you have to make a choice. It's one or the other. Alright, natural explorer. Where are we likely to be taking our adventure? So I would suggest making sure that you have a fair idea of where you're likely to be exploring. We've got access to dark vision. I'm going to go with something like goblins, orcs tend to be roaming around in, say, the mountains or the forest locations. So one of those. We could even go with the Underdark if you're going to have a campaign that takes place in the Underdark. Let's just skip all the forest and mountain. Let's go with Underdark for today. Why not? Now, available at levels above level 1, this is all this stuff here. You can go through here and read it if you like at a later date. Alright, that is our class covered. Now we're going to pick our ability scores. You can use your standard array or a point buy. For this build, I'm going to use the standard array, I believe, just because I used the point buy last time. So manual means essentially you roll your dice and you enter it manually. Point buy means you get some points to spend, and once you've spent your 27 points, that's it. And standard array, you get set numbers that you have to just allocate. So let's go click. Okay, my method is up here. I'm going to go standard array. And now I just need to go through and select what I want. So I'm going to go back to strength in a second. We'll go dexterity. If I go 14, I get a +2 to my dexterity because of my racial bonus, which is right here. So that means I'm going to get a 16. That's good enough. And then I want a reasonably high wisdom for my magic and just for my other skills. So we're going to get +1 to that because of our racial bonus. So we're 15. That should give us a 16 in wisdom as well, as you can see. Right, the rest I can divvy up. So constitution to keep us alive. So we're going to go with I believe it is a 13, should be good enough. And then intelligence, strength, let's go with a 12 for that. Intelligence 10, charisma 8. Okay, now if you don't like the idea of having a minus or a penalty in your stats, then use the point buy system instead. Okay, alright, or whatever your dungeon master allows you to use. So here it breaks it down. Our strength is 12, our modifier is +1, there's no bonuses for racial. Our total here for our dexterity, we started with 14, we get a bonus racial of +2, so it goes to 16. We selected a constitution of 13, so we get a modifier of +1, there's no bonus to that one because of racial features. And our intelligence is 10 because we selected 10, there's no bonuses to that. Wisdom, we picked a 15, we get a +1 for our racial bonus, which is going to take us to 16, modifier is a +3. And of course our lowest and weakest area will be charisma. Okay, moving on, that's all done, nice and simple. Alright, now we're going to move on to description. This is where we start to pick out some of the details for the character. Now this is where I said I was going to take the folk hero, so I'm going to go down to folk hero, that should pull it up. Animal handling and survival. These are our skill proficiencies. They are already selected for us. We don't have to do anything. And we also get a tool proficiency for a background, which is land vehicles. That's like wagons and chariots, stuff like that. Now I can also pick through here any of the following tools to be proficient with. Something that might make sense to you, maybe something that you'll find useful in the campaign, completely up to you. I think for the sake of just being a bit different, I'm going to go with woodcarver's tools. I don't know how useful that will be, but who knows? It doesn't really matter. Rustic hospitality. So since you came from the ranks of the common folk, you fit in amongst them with ease, and you can basically hide, rest and recuperate amongst the commoners. It's going to be really helpful because you're going to have places you can hide at some point, right? Or at least bed down. Somebody's barn is always available. Okay, suggested characters. Now these are your personality traits, your ideals, bonds and flaws that you have to select. Now you can just make them up, or you can randomly select them, or you can just pick them. Now you're going to pick 2 for your personality traits. I'm going to just pick them randomly. 1. I've picked number 5, so that is I'm confident in my own abilities and do what I can to instill confidence in others. Kind of good for a ranger as it happens. Okay, let's pick one more. Okay, that's number 8. I get bored easily when I am going to get, when am I going to get to my destination? So I get easily bored. So it's one of those, are we there yet kind of characters. I'm moving down, ideals. We will just go random and see what comes up. Destiny. Okay, so destiny. Anything and no one can steer me away from my higher calling, whatever that might be. Bonds. So we pick one of those. I'll just do that randomly. I picked a 2. Now all of these you can just roll with dice if you want to. You don't have to do it the way that I'm doing it right now. 2 is I work to the land. I love the land, and I will protect the land. Fits for a ranger quite nicely, so I'll keep that. And then flaws. 1 flaw. 2. I'm convinced of the significance of my destiny and blind to my own shortcomings and the risk of failure. Perfect. That's actually worked out quite nicely. So now that that's done, we can go down here. We'll just hit this plus sign for the character details, and we can pick our alignment. I think what we'll do is we'll go with just plain old neutral, right down the middle. And now remember, alignment is not something that you have to follow. It's simply a description of how you're playing your character. So if you start playing your character as being neutral and then things change later on, you change your alignment or talk to your dungeon master about that sort of thing. You can pick a faith, which I'm not going to worry about today. We're just going to move on, but you can type in whatever god or faith you like here. Lifestyle, we're going to go with, I think we're going to go with squalid. Just sort of, even poor would be good, but we'll go with squalid for today. So muddy floor huts and leaking stables. This is where our ranger hangs out. In the wild, that's where they live, really. Okay, characteristics, or physical characteristics, should I say. Now, I believe this character had dark brown hair, so we'll go with dark brown. Dark brown. And, whoops, that's not dark brown. That's dark something else. Okay, we had dark skin. And our eyes, we'll go with brown. Our height, let's just go with, say, 6 foot 2 inches. Quite a tall elf. Our weight, I'm guessing now, let's go 76 pounds. Age, let's go with 150 for a wood elf. Sex, we're going to go with, I think we'll go with male for today. And that's all that done. So now our personality characteristics, these are the ones we selected, are all listed here. You can go in and edit any of these. If you feel that they don't quite match up to what you wanted, you don't like them, you can go back and edit any of these. There's a little green button that says edit traits, edit ideals, edit bonds, and edit flaws. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to jump in here and just make a slight alteration. Just type out that and get rid of any. We don't need that. And see, ta-da, changed. So you can go in and make any alterations that you need to or want to. Okay, notes, down to our notes section. These are organisations that you can join. I'm going to hit here, we'll add a note for this. We'll say that we're a part of the Harpers. Harpers are sort of a selection of agents or spies, and they all sort of operate in sleeper cells. Allies. Let's say our ally is that how spelled Tritzt? Hopefully it is. Enemies. Who would be a good enemy? I know, we'll call Klarg. Klarg is one of Edon's enemies. So we've got an enemy in there. We can add our backstory, which I'm not going to do because it'll take too long, and I haven't made anything up anyway. But you can add it there. Other additional notes you just add here. So that's all done. We've covered all of that. That's our descriptive stuff. Go to next. It's time to pick some equipment. Now you can go with starting gold or just starting equipment. I recommend going with starting equipment. It's a lot faster. You can add magic items in here by just hitting the plus sign to add them in if you need to, and then pick what you need to. But I'm not going to worry about that. We are going to skip that. Instead, we're going to go to starting equipment, and instead of buying everything in gold, which will take a long time, I'm going to go to equipment. So you can see I have some options. Things have already been picked for me. They are sort of standard, but I get the choice between leather armor or scale mail. So some choices to be made. I'm going to go with scale mail for now, and then I either get 2 short swords or 2 simple melee weapons. I'm going to go with, keep it simple, 2 short swords. Now if I didn't select this and I went 2 simple weapons, it then gives you drop down menus and you can actually select exactly what you want. So you do not have to have the one that I just selected. You can pick exactly what you want. Now, Explorer's Pack or a Dungeoneer's Pack. I think an Explorer's Pack makes more sense, so we'll select that. I've already got a longbow and quiver with 20 arrows, so we'll leave that alone. Folk Hero starting equipment. We get an Artisan Tools, so we'll go here, and Woodcarver's Tools. We're a woodcarver, proficient with that, makes sense. We get a shovel, an iron pot for cooking stuff in, a set of common clothes, and a pouch containing 10 gold pieces, which we are going to use. And right now, before we go anywhere, I'm going to go down here and add an item by hitting the plus sign. I have a thing about building characters and not having certain items, so hence that's why I'm going to do that. So I'm going to do a search. The great thing is this filter works really well. So Healer's Kit, and it should come up. There we go, and we'll add that. That has been added. Cool. Now we should be able to go to inventory in a second, and it should all be there once it's all built. So we'll go next. I think we've selected everything. You can print your character sheet. There's an option to print here, so don't worry about I can only access it on the computer. No, that's not the case. You can view your sheet here, so we'll go here, and it's just building the character sheet now. Now the armor class won't be correct because I need to actually equip a few things. I can do this from here. It gives me a sort of a basic breakdown of all the bits and pieces and options that I have, and each little bar tells me exactly what I can do, but I'll show you those in a second. So equipment, and you'll see that there is a section that sort of shows you the equipment that I have. It'll have all of the stuff that all my possessions and my inventory should be all there, and I can manage my equipment as well. So I'm going to go to manage, and should be popping up inventory, starting equipment. We've already done that. Close that now. Good, cool. Alright, so now that I've done that, I'm going to jump back and just go to my character. I believe, what was this? Go to the builder. No, I'm going to go to my character and find Weedon. There's a few things to adjust. You can delete the character here, you can make a copy of the character, you can edit it, or you can view it. We're going to edit. Selected edit, and I'm going to go straight to the area that I need to modify. So I'm going to go to equipment, and I should have, where's my starting equipment? Did it not come in this time? There's only one thing there. Why is that only one thing? Inventory should be showing me everything. Oops. You know what it is? It didn't take. So we'll do it again. Quick. There. Okay, add starting equipment. Alright, that's what I missed. I missed hitting that button. Alright, Woodcarver's Tools. Whoops. Okay. Should have been added there. Bingo. I was wondering why the inventory was so light. There it is. 18 items. So we'll go in here, and it'll show us everything that we have. We have arrows. We can use them if we want to. I'm going to wield the longbow, so the mats for using it are already ready to go. I'm going to add my scale mail, so my armor class is updated. I'm going to select the short sword, only one of them. I don't need to have both repeatedly calculated for me. That should give us everything we need, and then we go next, and then view character sheet, and that will update our armor class and it will also give us all of our different attacks. So you can see our armor class is no longer 13, it is 16 because the armor has been added to it. Now you don't have to take scale mail. You can pick the leather armor if you feel it's more suitable for your character. I've just picked it just for the sake of it, just as a demonstration. Right, so along here our equipment is listed. Okay, there we go. All the things that should have been listed before are now actually listed. And you'll see if there's a dot beside it, that's because it's been equipped. Okay, and then if we go into inventory, it will break it down. No, and tuned magic items, we have none. And where was it? Actions, there we go. Now attacks, these are all of our attacks that we can use. The longbow is calculated for your attack modifier, short sword attack modifier, unarmed attack modifier, and then your damage is calculated here, and it sort of lists all the notes regarding that particular weapon. Anything we can do as an action is listed over here, which is nice and handy. Anything we can do as a bonus action, 2-weapon fighting, we have 2 short swords, so we can hold a short sword in both hands and make one attack as an action, and use our bonus action, since we use the action to make an attack action, to make yet another attack, which is quite handy. And then any reactions we can make. So that is really the gist of it. There's not much else to it. It's pretty simple. I think this is a really good piece of software. I recommend checking it out. It will give us a breakdown of all of our trained skills. You can see animal handling has got a dot beside it, athletics dot, nature dot, perception, we're trained in that, stealth, survival. Our trained saving throws are strength and dexterity, but all of the other numbers that we require are all calculated. Our passive perception, passive investigation, and passive insight all calculated for us, and so it breaks it down really nicely. And of course we get our hit points, how many hit points we have, how fast we move, and all of our modifiers for our abilities are all along the top here, including our initiative modifier, which we will need to use, which is essentially just your dexterity modifier. Okay, so look, if you found this helpful or useful or educational in some way, I certainly hope it was. Please consider hitting the like button and sharing this video with other people who might be learning how to build their own character. If you like this sort of content and you want to see more, I'm going to continue doing a series of building characters using D&D Beyond. So hit the subscribe button if you haven't subscribed, if you want to see more of these. Also hit the bell button to be notified when I go live and when I publish new videos. Now, if you want to support my channel, you supported my channel by watching this video, and I have to say thank you very much. I do appreciate it. And I know I say that every single time I do a video, but I do appreciate it. It's a big boost for me. I have hundreds of videos. There's bound to be something that you will find useful. So have a look through my playlists and have a look and see what you might find useful to you. Not everything will be useful to you, but I'm sure there will be something. I don't do Patreon, but if you want to support my channel, you can purchase things online through the affiliate links that I have down in the description from the book depository and Amazon. If you don't buy things online, don't worry about it. Just go through that link. I get a small commission for anything you buy. You pay exactly the same price. Just go through the link, buy what you want. You do not have to buy the thing I have linked to. Just go through the link. Okay, that's pretty much it. So this is your opportunity to say hi to me, give me some feedback, ask me some questions, give me some advice if I made an error or a mistake, and today I did in fact make a small mistake in the process of building the character. You can do that in the live chat, or you can do that down in the comments. So if you're part of the live chat, hang around. I won't be gone even if I stop speaking for just a short period of time. Okay, and that's it. That's pretty much everything for today. So till next time, keep rolling those 20s.